Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Town of Port Royal February 9th regular council meeting. Our first item of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. Ms. Hayward, can you lead us in the pledge?
Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Father, we thank you for this opportunity as we assemble before you in your presence. We thank you for the business that we'll be conducting on tonight, that it will be for the betterment of those in whom we serve. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen. Thank you. Before we get on to the first item of business, which is our approval of minutes, our town manager is running late. He will join us as soon as he possibly can, but we can work through this agenda at this point in time with Brooke's help, and we'll get to the end of this. So, first item of business is the approval of minutes. We have 3 sets of minutes in our packets that are from the January 5th public hearing, from the January 5th council workshop, and from our regular council meeting of January 12th. What is the pleasure of council?
I make a motion that we adopt minutes from the public hearing of January 5th, 2022, minutes from the council workshop of January 5th, 2022, and the minutes from the regular council meeting of January 12th, 2022.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any corrections, deletions?
None.
Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you, council. Our next item of business is every 2 years, we do the election of the mayor pro tem, which is the gentleman or lady who takes my place if I cannot be available and to do things. So at this point, we do that. We do this as a private vote. We'll all get a piece of paper that I think may not have been ready, and they're getting them ready. We're good. We'll all do that as we do that privately, and we give that to staff, and staff will tally the votes and tell us who the new mayor pro tem is. We're real good at adapting and overcoming. We're good. We're good. So we'll give them a minute to tally those votes. While we're waiting to get those votes back, we do need a motion to amend the agenda so that the town manager's briefing can be moved later on when he joins us. So can I have a motion, please?
I move that we amend the agenda to relocate the council briefing to a latter portion of the agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. So that allows us to move back on. Thank you very much. So we have a unanimous vote for phones. Looking forward to working with you closer on the next 2 years. And just so, it's interesting because today I was looking for a council member to take my spot for a meeting next week. And I started with Jerry and made the first phone call to Jerry, but he was going to be out of town also. And I was working down the list, and I called Darrell, and he said that he was more than willing to do it. So his first official task is next Tuesday. So he is going to cover for me next Tuesday at an event. So thank you so much. So next item of business is we're going to break into an executive session. We are going to discuss a personnel matter. I will need a motion to go to executive session.
I move that we go into executive session to discuss the personnel matter.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Everybody stay where you are. We'll leave the room. executive session?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
There was no actions taken during that executive session. The next item of business is, we're gonna go ahead, Van, if that's okay, give you a minute to settle in. We're gonna go ahead and do the appointments, and then we'll come back to the council briefing. So we're gonna do the redevelopment appointment first, and then, Brooke, can you have the names ready for the other ones? We've got the transportation referendum, and then the Economic Opportunity Commission. Okay, so the first appointment we have tonight is 5 members of our redevelopment commission, and to remind everybody who hadn't been here before or doesn't know, council took action and took a look at the redevelopment commission, its charter, the way it was being operated, what was happening, and we reworked that charter a little bit. The biggest change was we focused it to a geographical area. And we are asking the redevelopment commission to focus on the Ribault Road corridor from what I like to refer as Bridge to Burger King, if you've heard me say that, because that is the end of the city limits. Once you pass, just before you get to Burger King, halfway across the road, you're in the city of Beaufort. So we're asking them to refocus that. We had advertisements out for over 60 days, and we had 6 applicants for that. We've interviewed those applicants, and we're ready to do the appointments and get them started on that. So what's the pleasure of council?
I move that we approve and seat the following individuals for the redevelopment commission. Rand Ward, Richard Stewart, Stephen Loderick, Timothy Ball, and Vaughn Keon.
I second.
We have a motion and a second.
I'm going to go ahead and recuse myself from this vote at this time.
Thank you. Just make sure you give something to Brooke to let her know the reason for recusal. And any further discussion on this?
No, sir.
Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. And none opposed, thank you. Kevin, you're back in the conversation from here. So the next item of business is the transportation referendum. So if you've been following what's happening, the Beaufort County is proposing a referendum for a 1-cent sales tax. Before I do that, how many of you are in the room? Timothy's here. Is that it? Tim, the only redevelopment commission new member?
Yep.
Congratulations, welcome on board.
Welcome aboard.
A lot of work coming your way. A lot of work coming your way.
Yeah, counting on you.
So the county is proposing a 1-cent sales tax referendum. A part of that referendum is they are asking for a citizens committee to be put together. The citizens committee is going to consist of 1 member from each one of the county council districts, and then 1 member from each one of the municipalities. I don't think there were any ad hoc, other than then there's staff on board. I think that's the full realm of that. They're asking for that very short time. We found out about it less than a week ago. They would like the answer by tomorrow. I think because our council meeting is in line, that we can have a council meeting before then. And so we are going to appoint Dean Moss is my recommendation. And Dean Moss is willing to sit on that commission. I have spoken with him. So I need a motion from council.
Make a motion, I'll second it.
I'll make the motion.
Yes.
I'll make a motion to appoint Dean Moss to the county's transportation referendum.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, Beaufort Jasper Economic Opportunity Commission, a reappointment. I'm sorry, I don't have the name.
Charlotte Murray.
Charlotte.
Murray is here.
Thank you. Charlotte? Right.
Sure.
There's you are, Charlotte. Sorry. You're still good, right? You can't change your mind now. Okay. Can I get a motion to approve Charlotte?
I'll
Make a motion. Go ahead, Mary Beth.
I'll make a motion, we reappoint Ms. Charlotte Murray to the Beaufort Jasper Economic Opportunity Commission.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Still got more work to do, Charlotte. Very good.
Good job so far.
Thanks
Yep.
for your willingness to serve. We
Yep.
appreciate you.
Appreciate everybody who's willing to come forward and serve for the town of Port Royal, some of these ad hoc committees, some of these standing committees. So we want to thank everybody. So we're going to go back now to council briefing.
Okay, let's start off, Safe Harbor, we met with them yesterday to discuss progress on both the dry stack and potential marine construction. Obviously, they're refining some of the permitting for the marina. However, one of the things that they are putting together is a package that will help with the fabrication of the large concrete floaters that they'll be needing, so that we're looking at how the property will be utilized to be able to do that on site. That in itself is a $3 to $4 million endeavor, so we're pretty excited about that. So I'll keep you posted on how we work that out logistically. Secondly, they have ordered the materials for the improvements to the dry stack. So I think they're looking at 90 to 120 days for material delivery and to begin the work, hit the ground running. So pretty excited about that. Rebo Road corridor study. A couple weeks ago, town, some interested property owners, as well as Arnett Muldrow is the firm that was retained to do this study, sat down, had meetings with impacted property owners along the Rebo Road corridor, discussed potential redevelopment and potential retail opportunities along that corridor. What they do is basically examine a lot of the demographic information, the trip count information, and kind of give us a picture of what our expectations should be and what those drivers are. So they're taking everything they kind of heard from staff, from council members, from the impacted property owners, and doing an evaluation. What initially started out as a discussion of the intersection of Edinburgh and Vinay and Rebo kind of evolved into more of a discussion of what we could conceivably see along that corridor. Obviously, one of the concerns we've always had is that it's basically a thoroughfare for people traveling to and from Ladies Island, and it's really kind of separated the town, and this is an opportunity to kind of reknit that. A lot of the work that council did with tool design a few years ago on evaluating what potential intersection or corridor improvements could be contemplated to help alleviate some of the safety concerns were really complementary to what we saw with Arnett Muldrow. And that work was able to give them kind of a blueprint for how to move it forward. And it also gives us somewhat of a blueprint as to how we move forward with the transportation pinning that we're contemplating. Because we have several projects that are basically, I won't call them shovel-ready, but we know what the scope of those projects will be. So, and we're also trying to figure out how to integrate that crossing of the Spanish Moss Trail at the former rail. So those are all things that are being discussed as part of this corridor. Mary, you want to add anything? I know you participated some.
No, I think that it was a very productive 2 days, with day and a second day, a 2.5 hour meeting in there. I'm looking forward to the final report. I think there were some interesting things that they've looked at that we hadn't looked at in the past, and I'm really looking forward to that, to see where we think we can take this corridor.
Yeah, and running somewhat parallel to that, the town was selected to participate in this retail coaching program through the Municipal Association. Brooke and I are both attending, and as a result of that, we'll also have another study that's kind of the culmination of that effort that will give us an idea of as well what our retail opportunities could be. Allows us to have an opportunity to interface with the International Shopping Centers group, and so we'll have some direct contact with those people as well. So we're excited.
Yeah, I thought those gentlemen did a great job. I mean, some of their recommendations are really gonna put this town on the map, slowing that traffic down.
Yep. And we're at a good time. I mean, we've all talked about that because some things have changed at the DOT level, where complete streets is now a kind of a mandate. And that makes it a lot easier for us to get the crossings that we want in place and slow the traffic down. So it's different, people that have been around, and we'll reference Boundary Street. Boundary Street had to fight a lot of battles to do what now is mandated that they do. And so we're hoping that that really helps us when we do ours.
Next item is Sands Beach. I just want to bring this up. We're putting together some pretty significant capital programming over the next few years. However, I think we may want to move this one forward and maybe try to get this work done prior to kind of the busy season down boat landing. So I've asked staff to go ahead and get this ready for to be put out to bid notifying Klink, Michael Klink, to get it rolling. We have the schematics, y'all have all seen it, it's resurfacing and restriping. There's nothing overly complicated about it, it just needs to be done.
I agree.
So essentially, it's just a road, nothing with a pier or anything?
No, it's just improving the road surface there and restriping it.
Yep, just a parking lot area.
Impact fees, we had some discussion about what a new list of projects could be for the impact fee list and what its implications were for what the fee would be. Obviously, there's a bit of sticker shock, so the managers are all getting together tomorrow to discuss the status of where we all are on impact fees. And we also have to figure out how the capital sales tax penny impacts that impact fee list. Because there's a lot of projects that we're seeing both on the impact fee list and potential, and the potential capital project sales tax penny referendum. So I think we may have to wait for some of that to shake out. The implications for any change to the project list is less significant in the southern part of the county, at least for transportation, than it is for the northern part of the county. Right now, it's a relatively small fee compared to what it could conceivably be if they were to adopt that entire list. So I think we've got to figure out how to work all of these out and figure out where money is coming from some of these that might impact this list.
And just so that everybody in the audience, if you haven't been following this, these impact fees are fees that the county is proposing, and the municipalities have to agree to participate to collect them within our municipal boundaries. So that's why we're heavily involved with what are the projects that are going to be paid for out of the impact fees, and what are the priorities that those projects are going to be built. So that's why it's important to us that we have a full understanding before we move forward.
Next item is the Spanish Moss Trail. We sent a preliminary temporary easement for Safe Harbor to take a look at, because we basically have lined up the funding to engineer the crossing. We're working with the county on a larger kind of federal grant to pay for the crossing. But in order to make that impactful, we have to figure out where it's going to land and how to get it tied into, at least for now, up to Ritter Circle in that area. So Safe Harbor is taking a look at that temporary easement, and I think I'm meeting with Dean in the next couple of days to talk about that. They've requested some additional information, and we want to give a little more specificity. Shrimp facility and boats. I did put in your folder kind of an update on where we stand. There has been some interface between our lawyers and some of the boat owners. I think we have actually identified good addresses and good names and started the discussions with some of the folks that we can. Obviously, the Little Joe is a boat that basically has been abandoned, and so we've begun the process of that. So that'll get moving forward. As a matter of fact, I put in there, we actually had to go buy another pump to put in the Little Joe. You notice it was kind of listing, so we're trying to keep it afloat. Heck of a lot less expensive to get rid of it while it's floating rather than it's sunk. But there is progress being made. I know there's been some discussion in some social media platforms about the fate of the shrimp docks. For clarification, once again, the town owns the dock.
Right. I think that's an important statement, Van, and I appreciate you doing that. Then, go ahead, Van, you say it, and then I'm going to say it again. I'm going to say it twice.
Right. The town owns the docks. The town has secured $900,000 from the state of South Carolina to repair and replace the dock. The town has another $600,000 allotted for an effort to reconstruct a processing facility working with adjacent property owners. And so we've invested once again in standing up this industry and standing behind it. So any information you hear otherwise is not true.
So that's a $1.5 million commitment. We are committed to the docks.
Yeah,
At this point.
in addition to the $2 million the town has spent since
Right.
2006.
Right.
So,
So just to clarify again, and I'm going to make it as simple as I can, Safe Harbor does not own the shrimp dock. Okay, I'm going to put it out there. Safe Harbor's a great partner of ours. They're doing great things in town, but they do not own that shrimp dock. The fate of the shrimp dock lays with the 5 people sitting here. And if anybody would like any information about that, reach out to us, contact the town hall. We will get you that information. We own that dock, and this council and councils before have been working very hard to secure that dock and secure shrimping in Port Royal, and we have not given up. not given up in any way. So thank you, Van, for highlighting that.
All right. And just want to touch base a little bit on sidewalks again. You see the spreadsheet. We're going to have a larger discussion, which I mentioned a few items down about capital. So I just wanted to keep that fresh in mind. Next is just a status update on the community development block grant projects, the two that we currently have. As you can see, Paris Avenue Environmental is wrapping up. Once that's done, we'll be able to clear startup, release funds, and review plans and specs before putting the project out for bids. Royal Palms has cleared startup. We're working on permitting and plans. In addition to that, I have submitted the documents to SCDOT for the acceptance of the roads by the town in order to get that project done. SCDOT was very excited to receive those applications from us. They meet, I believe, in the first part of March. The board does to, I'm sure, contemplate very seriously whether or not they'll give us those roads. So that's sarcasm. Next, traffic and road projects. Y'all have seen the various stop signs and speed bumps we've been putting in different locations. There will be more. We're still working on that. Some are more well received than others. I think there has been a little bit of grace period for those of you that have rolled through them and been caught versus a 4-point ticket and $400 ticket. So we are just really encouraging people to slow down and be more aware when they're driving. So just keep that in mind.
Are they, is Public Works going back and following up with the stop lines? I've
Yeah,
seen some of them are going in, yeah,
Yeah,
great.
you took the word out of my mouth, and I noticed it down.
Yeah, yeah.
To do some of the painting. Ron, I don't know that he
Yes.
actually did it, but he did volunteer.
They're not all done. I saw some this morning. Joe took it out of my mouth. Mayor took it out.
Yeah, 16th Street is not
Yeah,
documented.
yeah, that's good.
As I mentioned just a few minutes ago, capital projects. Pretty exciting times. I mean, we're thinking about, our general obligation bond capabilities now. And we're in a position we've probably never been in before. We have the ability to borrow $4 million worth towards capital projects. We have the ability potentially to do that without netting out our total millage based upon the growth that we've seen in our fund balance. So we'll be able to offset, setting aside any sort of debt mill. I have been talking with Lawrence Flynn and Compass Municipal Advisors about putting together a plan as we move forward with the TIF. We're 9 years into a 20-year TIF that has had no borrowing yet. However, we have a purchase price now that makes sense to look into borrowing against that increment, if you will. We've got the ARPA funds that we also need to figure out how we want to program the balance of. And we've got the capital project sales tax spending as well as the impact fee list. So I think what we're going to see at our retreat is a focus on prioritizing these capital projects and kind of delineating where we'd like to see them go and how it rolls up into, this county's thinking about this 10 to 20 year programming for transportation needs in northern Beaufort County. So it's a lot to wrap our heads around, but it's good to be in a position where it can actually do some real work. So, and that includes the sidewalks I mentioned earlier. Any questions on that? All right.
Looking forward to the retreat, the end of the month.
Portage Chapel, we did install the sign. The Park Service is preparing displays. We've added some security cameras, not only for that building, but will allow us to also keep eyes on the skateboard park. We had some very dated equipment, so this is just an upgrade, so we're pretty excited. There was Naval Hospital sidewalk, no update. I put in your packets that explanation, and you and I have discussed this whole idea that they need the slope in order to make that work. I think it's worth a meeting to at least make them clarify that.
I think we spoke about it publicly in a meeting a little back, so let's update everybody who's paying attention. So we asked DOT to install the sidewalks without moving the fence. That was the request that we did. We sent that request officially. We got back saying they can't do that because of the slope behind the sidewalk. It is the low country, it's pretty flat around here. We took another look at it, and we think maybe an on-site meeting makes sense with DOT to see if we can't figure out another way. And if that doesn't produce something, because we're clearly not going to get anywhere with the Navy. It's since 2016 we've been trying to get somewhere. We've used it all the way up to the federal, the White House. We've done everything we can do. We can't seem to get anywhere. If that doesn't work, then I think I'm going to start heading down the path of how do we get that money put back into our realm and let us hire a local contractor to build it, because I know there are concrete guys that can build that sidewalk at night without impeding the traffic and without moving the fence. So that's kind of the plan. We haven't given up. This has been going on since before I sat here. And we're gonna do our best to get that sidewalk installed, to complete the sidewalk on Reebok Road on that side to Old Shell Road. We're not gonna give up. We haven't given up. And I keep driving the town crazy, sending in different requests and asking them to try different things, and it's just, as we think of something, we keep moving forward with it.
Yep. Next is, we had a request for capital projects from Beaufort Jasper Water and Sewer Authority. We've basically hit two things. One is the potential filling in of sewer or to those commercial properties along the Rebo Road corridor, which we'd like to see sewered, and we asked them to consider the extension, the 16th Street extension as a potential project. So I know that y'all been receiving some input on that. So just so the public knows, we did submit that prior to receiving those emails.
Well, great.
Food trucks, you know, we accommodated the ice cream truck request we got. I haven't seen the ice cream truck yet.
I bought ice cream in front of my house.
All right, good, congratulations. So now, you know, one of the things that we had talked about was readdressing those food trucks. Noah has started to look into it a little bit, so I don't want to steal his thunder. I don't know if you want to brief them anything on it. I caught him cold there.
Just for the purpose of the people online, Noah, come to the dais, please.
Yeah, so I received kind of just an inquiry with a little bit of proposal about a food truck court in town. They exist in places in the state, Savannah, Charleston, Greenville, Spartanburg. They're around, kind of started as a West Coast thing. Basically what you would be looking at, and this is not a use that's already in our code, obviously. It's similar to how the beer garden operates now. There'd be more of a permanent structure, you know, a certain number of concrete pads, maybe a tap room truck. So you would be looking at maybe 4 or 5 food trucks and a tap truck. They could rotate. There might be AstroTurf and games. So you picture the beer garden in a more permanent spot. That's the kind of use that you're looking at. So I was asked by a resident of the town to look into that use and how we could get it going in the town. So basically, I'd just like to ask if y'all would like me to explore a little bit of that research.
And as part of that research, we're looking into the impacts on brick and mortar.
Right.
So, yeah, so it's kind of a misconception that food trucks are an immediate burden on brick and mortar restaurants. Just base level research that I've done with municipalities in other areas, and you know, experiencing food trucks on the same streets as restaurants is one, it allows restaurant, you know, if people are in the area, they're going to make one choice or the other. Sometimes they want to stop at a food truck. Sometimes they want to stop at a restaurant. It just depends on their mood or what their expectations are for their day. So I would be able to bring you all kind of a larger description of the type of use that you'd be looking at adding to the code, and some background on the impacts on brick and mortar.
Just so that I understand. So we're talking about, this would be a privately owned lot that develops as a food truck cart. This is not, you're not suggesting something that the town would own, operate,
No.
or lease
So this
out?
would be a
Okay.
this would
Just
be a
wanted to make sure
privately
I
operated
kind of got that.
business. The resident is looking at the parcel behind Parker's where the barber shop has been in business for a while, I think. I'm not sure if they're still open, but the properties
They're
are
still open, but it seems to be a trend also, because I noticed along Paris Island Gateway, also the old shopping center. They have a sign out there now, you know, welcoming food trucks and just contact them and so forth, so
Yeah.
seems to be a
It's
trend.
not in the town, so let's get them down here.
Right, that's one of the things that you end up with when you don't formalize allowing food trucks, is that you get, you know, we have to make some kind of leniency in our code for food trucks, and then you get them scattered in random parking lots and things like that, you know.
I think it's a great exercise, and I think it's an important exercise, and we understand the impact and economic impact and the impact to the community. So I think it's a great thing, and I'm glad you're doing it.
Put something together for you all then.
All right.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Thank you. Good job on the cold call.
Yeah, his eyes got real big. Cypress wetlands, just an update on that. I've got Michael Klink updating the hydrograph for the wetlands. You know, one of the things we did, because obviously its primary responsibility is to handle stormwater, is how much capacity it has. Because of the commercial interest we've had adjacent to it, you know, it was initially designed and created to handle the additional flow from these properties rather than these independent detention or retention ponds that typically get neglected and don't turn out very well. So I've asked him to ascertain what that capacity would be to accommodate, the property was originally designed to accommodate, which is between the preserved apartments and the Port Royal Center, because that's all tied into this system, as well as the adjacent 12 acres on Rebo Road, which is by the Dollar General. And I wanted him to figure out if it could accommodate that drainage that comes off of West Paris. You've all seen it, where it creates quite a puddle, and to see if we can create some infrastructure there that would get it to that. Because right now, it'll pick up what's happening at Anchor Park. We have a couple of boxes that are right out in front now. The grade on that one is a little wonky. We have to keep that box blown out pretty regularly to make sure it flows correctly. We just want to make sure that we've got the capacity.
Right.
in
Right. And that grade is gonna be worked on during
Yeah.
the Paris Avenue, right, we're gonna deal with that. Wonky is a technical term.
And then I do have the chair of Parks and Rec here, and I wanted him to give an opportunity. I know that they met last night, and I don't know if you had any updates, anything you want to say? I know that y'all are taking up Parks and Rec at the retreat.
At the retreat. we're
And
working
I
on
kind of
something.
hit him with something about, I think I mentioned that the county's doing some master planning for recreation, and obviously we want to be strong advocates for what we consider regional parks, the Sands and skateboard park, to be quite honest with you. So, sorry if I stole your thunder.
No, you're good.
Okay.
Covered it. So
Good.
we've got updated maintenance, so we'll get you, Van.
Great, and we'll see you at the retreat at the end of the month. Great, look forward to it.
That's all I've got, unless you got questions.
Council, questions on the briefing?
Not on the briefing, but I do have a question. Do we own Veneer and Smilax, that corner, that road?
We will soon,
Soon.
We will soon?
yes.
Okay, are we gonna look at addressing the drainage issue there? Whenever it rains, it becomes a lake?
Yes, we will unfortunately have to do that. Well, what will happen is, most of that water obviously is trapped. I mean, you've got the Sea Island Apartments, which really doesn't have any sort of
Right.
stormwater infrastructure and parking areas, and it's all coming together. So when that area redevelops, they will have to take on the task of addressing the stormwater. So more than likely, yeah, it'll be road systems.
So before we
will now own
bought it,
it.
before we acquired it, we couldn't get DOT to do anything, huh?
Okay.
The road is designed as swale and valley, which just
Yes.
runs down. And the only thing is during the sewer project, I think we're going down that side a little bit. We may be able to reprofile it when we pave the road.
Yeah, because when they resurfaced Smilax a few years ago, they did what you're
slope.
talking
Yeah,
about.
the valleys.
But I'm not, like you said, I think it just got water quicker to that one spot. Because it does fall.
Any other questions?
I have none.
Okay. So we're at important dates and information. So Friday, February 25th, 8:30 to 10, the economic forecast with the Beaufort Regional Chamber of Commerce at McLean Hall, Technical College of the Low Country. Saturday is February 26th at 8:30 is the retreat we've been talking about. Council will be spending the day and maybe even going into the evening, who knows, as that day goes on, working on, as you've heard, many capital projects that we're looking at and moving forward with those. We have moved it up, if you realize, if you've been around a while, we wanted it in February this year because there's a lot of impact to our budget, and we wanted to make sure we got this decisions out earlier to staff so that they have time to put everything together for the budget, so we've kind of moved it up into the year a little bit. Anybody else have any important dates they want to talk about? Nope, everybody's good? So we're at council comments. Kevin, we can start at your end.
I wanted to give a shout out real quick to the Chamber of Commerce, the Beaufort Chamber of Commerce. We had a joint meeting with them. Just wanted to fill everybody in. Not last Friday, but the Friday before that, we met here early in the morning. I thought it was very productive, and I appreciated them setting it up. We talked about three main topics: Rebo redevelopment, the port development, and then also the military installations here. How we can continue to support those, but at the same time be prepared if anything does happen to those in this area. So just wanted to say thank you to the Beaufort Chamber of Commerce for setting that up. Hopefully we can do more of that. Hopefully one of them's listening online and we can set that up some more. I thought that was very productive, so.
Yep, I have to agree with Kevin that it definitely was productive, just like the City of Beaufort joint meeting that we had the night before, that we were down here. And one other thing, I just wanted to let the citizens know, there's 5 of us on council. If you call one council member, sometimes the message doesn't get to all of us. So if you have something, email us all, call us all. Don't just do one and think that we're all knowing about it, because we don't always know about it. We like to communicate. Sometimes that communication falls off. So please, if you have something that you want to talk about, notify all 5, because it's going to take 5 of us to vote on it. Thank you.
I was going to echo what Councilmember Hayward said as well. First of all, I'm humbled to have been appointed to serve for the next 2 years as your mayor pro tem. We're working closely with Mayor DeVito and also with you all. And certainly I'm accessible via phone, email, or even in the street at the supermarket that many people have caught me. So don't ever feel that you are a burden or burdening me. You've put me here, and I'm here to hear, listen to you, and also advocate for you. So again, I thank you all that have taken the time to volunteer your time in service and serving on various committees. Thank you, and we welcome others to come in as well. There's a lot to be done in the town of Port Royal, because we are on the horizon of being, we are that diamond in the rough, and all eyes are on Port Royal. And so definitely we welcome you.
Yeah, and real quick, just kind of impromptu, the last couple of days, we had Victor Dover and Vince Graham show up in town with a municipality from a neighboring state that wanted to showcase what had happened here and how successful it had been and how it evolved over time.
Yes.
So, if
Just
I
remind people that are new who Victor Dover is to the town of Port Royal.
Yeah, he was the guy in 1995 that really upset about 500 residents, but created kind of the master plan for downtown Port Royal.
Yep.
Caused a lot of consternation, but I think the results have kind of borne out what that vision that the council at that time had the courage to undertake under the guidance of Victor Dover and the staff at that time.
And he did a great job doing charrettes too for everybody. And so the citizens were involved in some of the designations of the different things. So just want y'all to know, he really got the town involved, and there was a great show of people that came in. So we want to thank him for that too.
And we have a new
Anticipating
development
it.
coming up over the next the Piggly Wiggly Plaza. I spoke with the owner of that property today, and so forth. So I'm excited about new businesses coming into Port Royal. So it's great. It's great opportunities here.
I'm good, sir. Thank you.
I'm good. Listen, council covered a lot of the things I would have said, so I'm good with it. And we'll move on to public comment. I have one. Ashley, come forward. The J.C.'s. We're gonna have a food truck festival.
I saw that big bag. I thought she had something there
Hey,
for
it
us.
was awesome last time.
All right.
So, the state of South Carolina JCEs just hosted their end of the year awards ceremony. So, because you guys allowed us to host Food Truck Festival in Port Royal, we are presenting you with the 2 awards that we won. So, we won the we tied with KC West Columbia because they found out what our donation was and upped theirs to match ours. But
It's all good for donations,
donation,
right.
So we both donated $6,000 to Camp Hope with the proceeds
Oh,
from Food
fantastic.
Truck Festival.
Very good.
Good job.
And then Food Truck Festival won the #1 JC project in the state.
Wow.
Awesome.
The town of Port
Port
Royal,
Royal.
J.C. Food Truck Festival, won the #1 food truck festival in the state. Yes, that was intentional, the way I said that.
In addition to that, our chapter won #1 chapter in the state for the 2nd year in a row, along with some membership awards and then individual accomplishment awards.
You guys are doing great.
with that said,
Mm-hmm.
we are here to petition again to host Food Truck Festival on Paris Avenue, October 15th of this year.
Date's good date's good for staff?
We can double check it.
Okay, do you need a motion from us? We'll do it at the next meeting, or can we do it?
Yeah,
You
we
wanna
can
check it?
Take it up formally.
Okay, we'll take it up formally at our next meeting, let the staff check the dates, and it's good, but I think you're,
What will the name of the festival be
It'll
this
be
year?
Grub for Hope. That is actually the true name of the festival when it was created. It kind of became the Beaufort Food Truck Festival because that's where it was held, and that's kind of what it was recognized for. But we are going to officially make sure that we change all of our media to the Grub for Hope because the Food Truck Festival is primarily to raise funds to send to Camp Hope.
Very good.
very good.
Glad to hear
Y'all
that.
did a great
Thank you.
job.
Yep, you guys do wonderful work.
It was amazing how it turned out.
I knew she had something in that bag for us.
So you guys, or do you want them?
No, I'd like to try to get a little photo up here, and because of these things, can council come down here on the bottom, and can you join us in the middle? All of council? Yeah, let's everybody come down.
That's Nick, that's everybody, come on.
Yeah,
All the
and
JCs,
you too, Kevin.
I know.
all the JCs come forward.
As-
Can you get everybody from here? I'm pushing you, I pushed you a little bit, didn't I?
Yeah, now you're good.
You're good, get to good side.
And you got all your headshots so that he can.
All right, ready in 1, 2, 3. We can do one more.
I think he switched that camera to wide angle.
Ready, 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Or was that panoramic view?
No, it goes wide.
Congratulations.
You guys are good.
You wanted the sleeve for
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for choosing Port Royal to do that event.
I love food trucks. I love food.
So from there, I have no other, but I'd like to open up public comment to anybody who's in the room who has anything they'd like to address council with at this time. Once, twice, done. The agenda is complete. I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Thank you, everybody. We don't need a second and a vote because the agenda is complete. Have a good night, everybody. Be safe.